her turn, her speech.
Hi, this is Mariah Gullo from The Hollywood Reporter, and this is Meet Your Nominee, and I have Emmy-nominated actress Yvone Strahovski.
Yay.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Congratulations on your Emmy nomination.
Thank you.
How does it feel to be nominated?
It feels really good. I'm really stoked, actually. I woke up in the morning very late to a lot of missed calls on my phone, so it was a good morning that day.
And you were in an unusual place when you got the news, correct?
No.
Oh,
I was home.
Oh, you were at home?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, did someone say?
Well, no, I just noticed on your Instagram that you were doing a lot of traveling.
Oh, no. Yeah, sometimes I post like a couple days later of where I've been. No, I've been traveling a lot, but no, I was home actually on that morning. Yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
So, Emmy night, you will be attending.
It depends on this guy. Yes, I am supposed to be there. I am planning on being there. Yeah.
Do you have any other nominees that you're rooting for?
Oh, like all my friends in my cast.
Right. There's 20 nominations for Handmaid's Tale.
I know, right? It's so great. It's so amazing. I don't know. I haven't really thought that far ahead. I'm so inundated right now with baby stuff and prepping for that, and and
so that's just next on the list.
it's next on the list to think about. Yeah.
Who would you like to dance with at the after parties?
Well, provided that I'll be in a state to dance, probably going to be the size of a house. So I don't know. I mean, my husband will be with me. So yeah, my hubs.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about your character, Serena Joy, because I want to know what you think about Serena really resonated with the Emmy voters this year.
I think this season was different from last season in that the writers really allowed me to take a deep dive into her emotional psyche and her vulnerability, and to break down the iciness that we had seen in season 1 with Serena. So I really think that having a lot of those emotional scenes and humanizing her even more made her more relatable and allowed people to have a little bit more sympathy for her, even though she's evil and one of the bad guys. So it's been a really interesting, tumultuous ride for me, and I think as well as audiences, to go on this up and down journey of following someone who was essentially a creator of this horrible place that is Gilead, but then to also see her have these human moments and break down and be affected by things around her, as she should be, as the audience is kind of wanting her to be.
Right. It's really a testament to your performance as an audience member who watches The Handmaid's Tale. The emotional ups and downs from episode to episode. You're wondering, are you in her corner for any of the conflicts that she has with her husband and with Offred? And it is a very unusual thing to be like, wait a minute, I feel sorry for her now. Now I'm confused.
Yeah.
And then the next episode, you just pull the rug right out from under us.
Yeah, there's a lot of those moments, and I mean, I thought we had a lot of those moments pre the big rape scene that we did in that one episode, and I wondered personally, once that rape scene had aired, what would happen after that? Would she still have redeemable qualities about her? Was there any way to win audience members back after something so heinous and awful as the big rape scene that we did? Even though every ceremony is a rape scene, but this one was even worse.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Tell me a little bit about filming that scene. Like, how did you prepare to go into a role like that?
I always say I always feel a little bit dirty playing the actress who has to justify all the reasons why Serena does what she does, because ultimately I'm on team audience,
Yes.
who loathes and hates her and wants her to be a better person. So, it feels super icky to step back and kind of go, well, this is why Serena does these things, and I totally understand why she would. But this was sort of one of the harder moments. But in essence, I think the relationship between Offred and Serena is so tumultuous this season, and they're mean to one another that I think it's that awful concoction of Serena having the last straw, like it's the last moment, before she does something like that, where Offred has just cut her down yet again with the fake birth and being so smug about it in the moment, and everything that's happened, all the accumulative effect of their relationship as well, and Serena just wanting her out of the house and wanting the baby and for everything to be done and dusted, and that's it. So, but that's not to say I don't think she's not aware of what she's doing. I think in the moment, she realizes that she's forcibly holding somebody down, during a rape, and I mean, you can see that. So it's there's so many things going on, and yeah, I mean, it's an awful scene.
All right.
Yeah.
And you had a couple of scenes yourself where you were put in the position of being injured or tortured. What was it like to go through those scenes, especially being that you were pregnant at the time?
Thankfully we got the beating scene at the end of episode 8 out before I got pregnant. That was right before I got pregnant. So
That's
the rest were that's sort of because you don't tell people when you're pregnant for the first few weeks, and so I was holding on to my secret for quite some time until the rape scene came around, and I remember I told Bruce Miller and Lizzie at the same time, because I was worried that Lizzie, in her struggling, against my arms, is going to punch me in the uterus, basically, and I really didn't want that to happen. So that was a conversation, of course, and with Joe as well, when we shot episode 11, when we go to the house where Offred is hiding, and we have that huge argument, and he shoves me against the wall. So there was, it's obviously quite a dramatic moment where he pushes me against the wall, and I can't do that, when you're pregnant. So that was also a bit of a negotiation. Yeah.
The episode where Serena goes to Canada, that was a very interesting episode, and that really displayed kind of her intelligence and more depth and layers to her than you've seen before. Can you speak a little bit about that episode?
Yeah, it was one of the more challenging episodes, purely because she makes the decision to then go back to Gilead afterwards, after she's presented with an alternate option. I loved the fact that it was so confronting on so many different levels. She's not only environmentally confronted by a modern world, and a world that she was once a part of. She's watching women who are on their phones and being independent and going about their work days in clothing of their choice. And then you have the little girl at the elevator, calling her a princess, and her feeling alienated. And even the guy who offers her an alternative escape, Sam Yeager, who played that role, there was an element of flirtation going on there as well. There was a chemistry between the two people. It was something that Serena, I don't think, has felt in a really long time. I don't think she's ever felt another man's eyes on her in that watchful kind of a way. And I thought it was really compelling as I read it to imagine what it would be like playing it, where there's all these different things, and how you digest all of that when it's like a blast in your face after you haven't been used to any of that kind of thing in the past. So it was a wonderful episode to work on.
Did you appreciate getting more flashback stories about Serena this season?
Yeah, I always love the flashbacks. They feel always really foreign to me because it is going back into like a modern day clothing version of Serena. So I'm way more familiar with Gilead Serena than flashback Serena. But it's always really fascinating to see how the pieces are getting put together and what the writers are coming up with. And those scenes in particular with the university were really intense, with the students screaming and yelling. It was a really, really intense day. And I remember actually that in Australia they were announcing the marriage equality vote that day, which was, I always thought was interesting, kind of a juxtaposition of, Australia, voting yes, and it being this amazing moment. And here I was being screamed out for being a Nazi, and then I won't say the word that came after it, but
Right.
It was interesting.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about your scenes with Elizabeth Moss. I mean, she's your most intense scene partner.
Yeah.
How did you guys work on keeping the intensity of the scene, but not losing yourself in all of that intensity?
I mean, I think, well, we're both pretty kind of, I guess, like we don't like, once we call cut, we're cool, and we're fine. We're like normal people. So it's not all doom and gloom. So that's great that we get to have that play in between takes or in between scenes. But yeah, it's like having like the greatest sparring partner ever. You're in between action and cut. It's like anything can happen. The way that there's so much room for nuance and improvisation, and it's so fun to be able to go there with her and bounce off of each other and find these new elements in these scenes that you don't really even find reading it. I mean, there's so much already in just reading the scene, but when you're putting it on its feet and you get to work with someone like Elizabeth, it's just so much fun to discover the rest of it.
Yeah. How has working on Handmaid's Tale informed you about what kind of mother you're going to be?
Oh yeah, I've tried to sort of really separate the two things. I try more to just step back and laugh about the irony of the situation and how funny it has been to go through all these weird motherhood themes on the show and strange fake birthing scenes and all this crazy stuff while I'm going through this myself. It was really important for me to sort of energetically separate my own personal experience from the Gilead Serena one.
Do you think you'll be more involved in politics in the future, now that you've worked on a show that it is so much about looking at what could happen or what will happen politically in this country?
Yeah, I think the show has definitely made me more political. I was never terribly political growing up, and I was never really familiar with American politics either, having grown up in Australia. So I was always sort of on the peripherals. But I mean, it's hard to turn away from politics now anyway, even if you're not political. It seems like such, I mean, oftentimes a circus, even though there's incredibly serious issues being talked about, it does sometimes seem so far-fetched in what's going on. But the show has definitely been enlightening and empowering as well. It's, I mean, aside from just being an incredible professional journey, personally, it has really empowered me, especially as a woman, with all the themes that we address on the show and how they parallel, often accidentally, with real life. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Yvonne, thank you so much for being here. Congratulations on your nomination, and we'll see you on Emmy night.
Yeah, thank you. Hopefully I make it.
Yes, you will. You will. Bye.